Thanks for joining my video. In this video, but one more very popular interesting topic of Azure is Azure functions. So if you are working on Azure, Azure functions are the minimum component you use. So in every Azure application use various Azure functions. So in this video, the topics are like what is an Azure function, types of Azure function triggers, how to create a service bus Azure function trigger, and that by using Visual Studio, and how to integrate Azure function with service bus topic, how to deploy Azure function in Azure, and run and see the output. Like my videos are, I'm not only discussing the theory and living. So as usual, my every video contains the uh, output. So we will deploy our Azure function in the Azure premises, and we will see and make sure it's working proper. So what is the definition for Azure function? Azure function is a serverless compute service provided by Microsoft Azure that enables developers to run small event-driven pieces of code without the need to provision, manage, and maintain the underlying infrastructure. So in simple, Azure functions will run in the background. They do a lot of activities, like the major and complex activities, like creating the Azure resources, updating the database, preparing the data and inserting into the either Cosmos or MongoDB or any other databases. So with Azure functions, you focus purely on the code and events that trigger its execution. The cloud platform automatically handles the rest, including scaling, infrastructure, and management. So the advantage of using Azure functions, they will relieve the load on the client applications. They run in the background. And if you are using Azure functions, you no need to concentrate on how to scale up, scale in, and how to manage the infrastructure. Based on the provision you selected, Azure will take care of all these activities. So these are the different types of Azure function triggers: service bus topic trigger, blob trigger, Cosmos DB trigger, like Dapper publish output, so event grid trigger, so input binding isolated, Q trigger, RabbitMQ trigger, service bus trigger. So even though we have all these kinds of triggers, the very popular triggers are like service bus, topic, and queue triggers, and also event grid triggers, event hub triggers. So these are the widely used triggers. Like, but if you have any other requirement like the blob, Cosmos DB, or say SignalR, you can have the triggers. In this video, I'm going to show how to use service bus queue trigger for the Azure function. So these are the different hosting plans for your Azure function. The flex consumption, I gave the complete snapshot. Functions, premium, app service, container, apps, environment, consumption. For flex consumption, get the high scalability with compute choices, virtual networking, and pass as you go billing. Deploy for premium, deploy multiple function apps on the same plan without event driven scaling. So if you are using multiple uh, functions, you can use the premium. The app service runs web apps and function apps on the same plan with more compute choices and pay for the instances of the plan. And container apps host functions apps with other containerized microservices and pay for your. So this is like your Kubernetes environment. And the consumption, pay for compute resources when your functions are running as you go. So let's first create the function app using Visual Studio. Click on create new project. Then you can select the Azure here. So you have the Azure functions. Go to next. The process request. So this is the name I gave. On next, and here you can select the version, and here you can select the types of trigger. As I mentioned, I'm going to select service bus topic trigger. You can mention the connection string name, so subscription name. So I'm going to use, let's see what we have in the, or else you can just create, you can later change that topic name and subscription name later as well. And it's creating a function app. So let's see. So here we have the function app. So is the solution for my function app, and have the program.cs, have the function 1.cs. So change et function process request function. So this is the name I'm going to replace. So here you can see name of the function. So this is the topic. You can also, I created a service bus trigger function app. That's why you can see service bus trigger. So if you have other trigger, you can, that you need the namespace for that. Yeah. So here simply you can change the trigger so that the function app trigger will be changed. And here this is the topic name, and this is the subscription name. And here connection string. So let's fill these values, and it's going to receive the message service bus format. So I'm not writing any code. So when you run this code, it's going to read the message. It's going to publish the message ID, message body, and message content type. That's it. Before that, fill these values from your Azure, the topic, subscription, and the connection string. I updated the topic name, subscriber name, and the connection. Yesterday in the video, I have shown how to fill the connection, but the connection, whatever you're adding it here, it will not work. I'll show why it will not work. Then I'll show how to add it. So let's run the code. See, the function app, it's going to um, uh, point to this service bus topic. So testing function app, I'm adding one message so that when I run the function app, it should read the message. Okay, so now you run your application and see it will throw an exception because of the connection. The way I added the connection will not take. You need to add a connection in way. There is a reason for that. So like when most of the people, they work on Azure functions, they stuck here and they spend a lot of time. I don't want you to end up spending a lot of time here. So it's not hitting. Function is the listener function was unable to start. So the listener function was unable to start. Microsoft Service Bus account connection string does not exist. So if you are adding the connection string like that, it's not going to take it. So just do a different, there is a different way we can add that. So go to your LAN settings, local settings.json. So here you add a variable and add the service connection. So like Azure Web Storage, so your Azure function needs a web storage, and this will tell how to use it, what kind of runtime, .NET isolated, and this is the service connection. Now come back here and remove this connection and add it service, same key. Now run your application and it should work. Now run your application and see it should work. It's loading, and I kept debug pointers and we can see the message. Yeah. So it hit your constructor. Remove the debug pointer there. Now you can see the message ID, message body, testing function app, content type. And if you go back to your service bus, the message gone. Just one more time. Testing local function app, send. And when there is a message in your service bus, it triggered this function. So, and again, you can see the body. So when there is a new message every time, this function is going to execute. So now let's deploy your function app. We already saw how to deploy any app into Azure in a detailed video from the previous videos. So if you want the detailed steps, you can go back and see. Once you click on publish, you're going to select Azure. And here you can select different types of Azure. Since it is an Azure function, so it's showing the Azure function app hosting plans. Specific target, I'm going to select Azure function app. I don't have any Azure function, so I'm going to create a new Azure function. Let's leave everything default. So the flex plan, I'm going to select the default flex plan. Everything I'm keeping default. So because of the function, because of my subscription, it's not showing uh, all the options here. So let's go back to your Azure and see how to create a Azure function, and then come back here and deploy. So just click on create a resource. So you can search for Azure function, and you can select the function app. And here we have flex consumption. I'm going to select consumption plan. So I'll name it the same function name I want to give. Created. DT process request. DT process request. It's no need to be same. And here I can select Linux or Windows. I'm going to select Windows. Select um, uh, technology, and keeping rest of the things defaults, and go to the deployment, and I'm keeping everything the default selection. And finally, click on create. If there are any validations, it will throw here, but it's going to success. It's going to create a new function app. So when it's creating a function app, it's not only creates a function app, it creates few other components also, like the app insights and other stuff. Let me show once it's created. So Yes, it's function app get created. Let's see what it added. So you can see it added a app service plan, and it added an application insights. It added the service, the function app. So under function app, uh, uh, functions will be deployed here. Right now we don't have any functions. So let's deploy the function and see here. So right now it's not showing any functions here. Let's deploy the code and then you can see one of the function here. So let's do the publish one once again. On publish. So add a publish profile, Azure function app. So now it will load the functions, available functions, .NET. I'm selecting DT process request, which was the function I created, and on finish. So it's going to do various steps in the deployment, and it's ready to publish. Click on publish. So again, publishing to Azure function app initiated. So there will be various steps in the publish transaction, and you can see the output, clear steps in the output window. Making sure your function has the right settings to run. The publish completed. If you are dealing with Azure and your Visual Studio, so you will see a lot of issues like the cache issues. So if anything is not working and if you are unable to get it fixed, sometimes you have to reboot your the app, the Visual Studio app, or sometimes you have to reboot your uh, computer itself. Here the publish was completed. Let's go and see on the Azure front. So earlier there were no functions, but under functions you can see DT process function request function. So when you're dealing with function, the functions are not simple. So they're deployed into your Azure, and you have to monitor it. So log stream is one of the important, which will enable you to see the step by step or what your function app is doing. Yeah, when you see the log stream, the listener function was unable to start. So we deployed the code, but what was missing? So this is the minimum, like, common error we get when you deploy your code into Azure function. I'll show the quick steps how to fix it. So in your function app, go to settings. So there will be a configuration environment variables. So under app setting, did you see the service bus connection which you created in your function? No. So the code, it's referring the service bus connection. So I'll show in the code. So here it's referring the service bus connection property. So where we deployed the property here, the value here, but we are not going to see that in the configs. So I'm going to add a new app settings. Then I'll copy this entire connection, it in the value, apply. And when you click on apply again, it will say have to restart your function. Yes, I'm going to restart my function. Before that, let's see your service bus and make sure the message was there. So when I restart the function, it should read the message was not there. Add some message. This message is for function deployed function. Deployed function. Let's send it. Make sure you have the message here. Now restart your function app. Confirm. It's going to restart your function app. And after that, see, it's stopping the job. You can see the step by step what is happening to your function app. This is the only way we can see. And yes, your message gone. Come here, your message gone, and able to read the message here. Send one more message and for app. Yeah, you can see the message. This is my function app 2. Send one more message. This is me sending messages to function app 1, and immediately you can see this is me sending app. Then copy this. So when there is a message, it's going to send one more message. See? Yes. So now you just copy this and see how many instances you have. One. See, this is me sending function app 1, function app 2, function app 3. Run the console application, which I have shown in the previous video, to send the messages and see whether it's working or not. This console application will send messages to your service bus, and whenever I run this console application, will send a message, and here you can see your function app is reading the message. See, .NET update sending message at run one more time, and see here. See, send or not. Here, run the console application one more time. Yes, it sent a message. Yeah, you can see .NET updates received 3.18.5 and 3.18.45. So now your function app has been configured to your service bus topic. So this function app is listening to your service bus topic, and it's going to process each and every message when there is a message into your service bus topic. So in this video, I've seen like what is Azure function, types of triggers, and the types of hosting plans, and how to create a Azure function by using Visual Studio, and then how to deploy the code into your Azure function. And we have seen the live performance of your Azure function. So if you don't need your Azure function and you want to stop it, just you can click on stop. So it's going to stop your Azure function. Whenever you want, again, you can come here and you can start the Azure function. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Your feedback is very important. Please share your feedback. Also, suggest if you want to see any interesting topic. Definitely, I'll take your input and I'll create the video. Sit tight and watch for next exciting videos. I'm definitely going to make more interesting and more useful videos. Thanks again. Happy coding.